Hello and welcome to For Wales, See Wales with me, Robin Morgan.
Me, Owen.
Me, Will Hayward.
We are back.
We are here. What's going on?
Well, it's not as hot as it's
I
been.
can't do it. I hate the heat. I hate it.
This surprises me so much. You come across as somebody who'd really thrive in 35 degrees.
Weird dig.
No, I'm just saying it's not a surprise to me that you struggle in the heat, given that you
Struggling in the not heat.
What?
What?
You struggle in room temperature.
I do hate. I do hate heat. I can cope with any level of cold.
Oh, are you that kind of person?
Right, okay. Whereas, you know when you go on holiday, if you're just like lying down, reading a book, drinking something cold, could you handle that heat?
No, my partner I was about to say hates me because they are very like they love the heat.
Yeah.
Hate feeling cold. We'll go like for a walk and I'll be like wear an extra shirt, collar up. Oh, walk on the shady side.
Yeah.
Sure.
Am I scared of the sun? Maybe. But anyway, it was just too hot. It was just too much.
It was disgraceful. It was absolutely disgraceful, and
Yeah.
I've written to my MS about it.
Or
What are you doing about it?
Or was it disgraceful, or was it, to quote one MS, a normal British summer?
I love this. Should we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who said it was a normal British summer?
It was Christiana Emsley, MS,
Oh.
who is a Reform MS, who tweeted saying, I don't know her voice too well, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to try not
You're
to
just
fall
going to do
into...
it in Drakeford.
I'm just going to do
go
Drakeford.
on. Yeah.
2 consecutive days of what used to be normal British summer, and Westminster is already considering emergency workplace temperature limits. At this rate, by August, we'll have a Cobra meeting every time someone needs to put sunscreen on. Britain really has become a world capital of state-sponsored mollycoddling. One wonders how the Mediterranean economies manage to function at all. Well, they have bloody siestas and they have air conditioning.
Yeah, they smashed it, and also quite a fiery continent. There's a lot of arguing constantly because everyone's so fucking hot.
Also, literal wildfires. Literal wildfires.
I mean, but also, I wasn't around whenever Christiana Lover was born. I assume we could be the same age.
What prompted this furious tirade from Miss Emsley was the fact that there had been a suggestion that perhaps workers shouldn't work when it's very, very dangerously hot.
So some people have said when it's dangerously hot and we don't have the infrastructure in the UK to handle these heats, some schools were closed. Were your kids' schools
My kids were off for a day and a half.
Yeah?
Yes.
Christiana thinks they should have gone in and baked.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like...
That's a normal British summer, Robin.
Well, like it was like the opposite of a snow day, wasn't it? Like
Yes.
the schools got closed because the same thing happens if Did you ever always hear those rumours about if the temperature goes below X or Y, then you get to get sent home?
And you're like, come on,
Yeah,
come on.
Same thing here. It made complete sense,
I mean,
right?
do we have any facts on the basis of whether this was normal? Because word on the street for me was that we had the hottest days on record for June.
Yeah.
Was
Hottest
that-
day ever recorded.
But so not a normal British summer.
Unless a normal British summer. Well, actually, it kind of is a new normal British summer because every year we're having the hottest day ever recorded.
Sure, okay. To be fair, I'm not up on the climate of Cleveland.
No.
Maybe Cleveland is based in the Sahara. I don't know.
Yeah.
So she is used to it.
It's just this idea of... I mean, let's call it what it is. That is climate change misinformation. And the fact is, climate change is scientific fact. Like, it is as confirmed as gravity in scientific terms, okay? You can find a crank on the internet who will tell you, well, actually, I've done my own research. If at this point, people are denying climate change and saying they're a scientist, they are not credible. But to have elected representatives not only outwardly denying what we can all literally feel, in terms of the heat. But not only that, actively scorning attempts to mitigate the impending emergency which successive politicians for generations have allowed to happen and presided over, I think is just disgraceful. And I don't know why more journalists aren't covering the heat wave from the point of view of this is man-made climate change and the emphasis on man-made. It didn't have to happen. We knew it was happening and we have chosen to do basically nothing. And I don't understand why the political parties, especially, which are culpable for this absolute shit show, are being given a free pass now.
Why is she doing this? Why is that side of the political spectrum going for this anti-net zero agenda? Why is it a vote winner? What is the benefit for her doing this? Because there is a huge section of society who will vote for things like this. Like, what's the benefit of it?
Before Will gives a grown-up answer, I would say that it feels very pick-me. Like we've said before,
Right.
like I feel like Reform are like the pick-me's of the Senate. It's like, I'm just
Okay.
not like other girls, right? So when we're all going, this is something obvious that is happening, it just is in keeping with their vibe to be like, we don't think it is. Actually, maybe there's a different view. It's the people who go to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
When the devil does not need advocating for here. The devil is burning in hell like we all are as well.
That's the normal British summer.
Exactly.
Hell is a normal British summer, actually.
It's just, I think it's pick-me behaviour. It's going, we're not like everybody else. And because there will be, for whatever reason, those people out there going, nah, why the fuck am I recycling when this, that and the other? Like, which I can empathise with, right? There will be people who are made to feel like that we as the British public all bear the responsibility of stopping climate change when there are massive companies who,
Sure.
even if one or two of them change their ways, would completely, kind of slow down the rapid deterioration of climate change and so on. We see, like, the Super Bowl, about the private jets going in and out of the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift, I'm sorry if you're listening, taking a private jet to her kitchen. It's all of these things that make you as a normal small person feel ridiculous for washing out your yogurt pot, right?
Yeah.
So when Christiana's going, we're on your side, I understand that. But then I think there's a way of going, we want climate change to be reduced or slowed down, and we're on your side, and we're going to go after Shell, and we're going to go after those big companies. It's not happening.
Well, that's the thing, because like on that side of politics, Reform are the anti-establishment party. That's what they want to be doing. So why aren't they going like, it's this is what Trump ran on this. The system's rigged. The system does not work for you, and I'm going to be the one to fix it. So if Reform are these people of going, well, the establishment's fucked. We are the new alternative. They should be going after these companies that are making.
Let's go over.
billions
Yeah,
of-
let's go for them.
Well, I'm going to put forward a potential reason why they're not. Research from DSMOGs found that Reform received £24 million from organisations with oil and gas interests, accounting for more than 2/3 of its total income.
Are you joking?
No. I mean, you don't need to connect the dots. Like man-made climate change, which is largely driven by the burning previously of coal, now oil and gas. And we are largely funded by people who produce oil and gas. And what is
Is it simple as that? It's so basic.
the only other thing is that they are just in like thick as two short planks. There is just no other way of getting.
Can both things be true?
The right in the UK over the last kind of 5 to 10 years have shifted from climate change is not happening to climate change is not man-made to, okay, even if it is man-made, what can we do about it? That is how they've shifted, because they've had to shift because of all the overwhelming level of evidence and at the point the public are at with it, despite the millions and billions of pounds that have been put in to convincing people this is not the case. People have clicked that this is the case, especially younger people.
Christiana's still at base one, though. She's going, no, it's not happening.
But she's not only saying it's not happening, she is like saying that the results of this climate change, if it is happening, I'm not going to let you even cool down. That is what she's saying. This response, the thing that triggered her to put this out, was a tweet which said the UK government is now considering a maximum workplace temperature limit amid the ongoing UK heatwave. So it wasn't anything major. It was like, maybe we have an upper limit that workers can work in. Now you have got to be pretty unusual to think that we can't have an upper limit for temperature of what people can work in. Like that, if that upsets you, you cannot portray yourself as a friend of the working person.
No, this is not Dickensian times. Do you know what I mean? Like, the working person should have rights. Why is this a fucking hot take? Pardon the pun. But, like, I don't understand. But also, like you were saying, Robin, like, who is this for? Because realistically, there is an element of privilege involved here. Like, the people who are working in really seriously hot conditions are probably going to be in the lower paid jobs. And those not the people who are your, on paper, Reform voters.
Does she? I'm guessing she was working in the Senedd last week.
Yeah.
Is the Senedd air conditioned?
Oh, it depends where you go in it. But the actual
So I think that's
Senate
fucking
building,
relevant.
the Senate building can be a bit of a nightmare because it's just all glass.
Sure.
Does she want to see people passing out? Does she? Because people were at schools and stuff. I was speaking to a teacher on Saturday, and she was saying that the classroom last week was a babysitting service essentially because they were not getting anything done. Like, you know, I couldn't concentrate on anything last week. You know, living the freelance nightmare, didn't earn a single penny because I can't do anything. And she was saying that there's pupils, they were on a rota. She was sending them out to the bathroom to run their hands under cold water because they were all so inflamed.
Yeah.
But Christiana thinks that that's absolutely fine and normal.
This sort of output is very kind of just by numbers, default, knee-jerk. This is happening. We've got the government is doing something. Let's just say the opposite of it.
Nanny states.
There's no thought process. There's no kind of right. There is an issue here. I'm an elected representative. How can we help solve this problem? Would this thing help solve the problem? Is there a better way to do it? Is this an efficient way of solving this problem? None of that is there. It is just this is normal, and it just isn't. Every single week it feels. I want us to have a conversation where we don't actually just talk about reform for some of it, because ultimately they're just the opposition. There's another party in government which we want to be going at. But you can't compare stuff like this when we are in an absolute environmental emergency, which is so self-evident at this point, and we have elected representatives who are pretending it doesn't exist.
This was a tweet, right? So she hasn't stood up in the chamber and done this. I think we hope that Wales would have an effective opposition when the new system changed and when Reform got that many seats. And, you know, we've seen within the Senedd during FMQs and things kind of it becoming a bit of this back and forth bullshit. And obviously with the walkouts and stuff last week or the week before. We've said this from the start of this podcast. How do you make people's lives better?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, stoking the flames and just criticising, so somebody will go, yeah, it is a bit nanny state, isn't it? You know, like we've all been hot. What, you're going to call a COVID meeting? It's what a dickhead would say in the pub.
Yeah, that's what an uncle I wouldn't want to sit next to at Christmas would say, and that's fine. And I still love him. You know,
Sure.
I wouldn't want him as my MS.
Yeah.
But she is an MS, and she's been elected, and I think we need to take that seriously.
She's getting paid a lot of money to represent the people of Flint Wrexham, right?
Shell.
The people of Shell who are funding her. It is really difficult, and I think from people, you know, not saying that we're the main victims here, but like you said, Will, we don't want to keep doing this. We don't want to keep having to go, sorry, how ridiculous is that Reform have done this week? And we should be talking about, right, what are the government going to do? How are they going to keep to their net zero promises? They've been very loosey-goosey up until the election about how they're going to handle net zero and staying friends with the farmers who voted for them. All of these kind of things. We should be talking about plight. But the problem is, when you've got a party literally saying climate change doesn't exist, it pales into insignificance. And what I worry about then is that the government is going to get away with a lot of shit because no one's focusing on them.
Do you think Plaid should be addressing these things? Do you think that Plaid should be going, as you say, what journalists should be doing in terms of this is scientific fact, so this is what we're going to be basing everything else on? Do you think that Plaid should be coming out and giving this airtime, or do you think just
I actually think it's
beneath?
I think we should be giving airtime to the issues of climate a lot of time. I think it should infuse every single element of policy decisions at this point because it's such a dire emergency. I think in terms of this thing, I think what's worth pointing out, if I was Plaid, how I would respond when they're criticising, trying to talk, if Reform stand up in the Senate and say they're talking on behalf of working people, say, well, you're on the side of working people. You don't want them to have upper limits of the temperatures that they are allowed to work in. Google average global temperatures for every year for the last 1,000 years and have a look at it. Like it's so self-evident.
Yeah, I think that's a nice angle, isn't it? Going, well, this is the smorgasbord of what you've said over the past amount of time on all these different issues. So how can you say you are anti-establishment? How can you say you are the party of working people?
You know, the most annoying thing about climate change, apart from the widespread habitat loss, the wildfires, the mass migration, all the
those are annoying.
Yeah, they are annoying. But what's most annoying about it is that people who have forced this upon us are going to be the people who suffer less. It's like Brexit. Yeah. The people who will suffer most from Brexit and from climate change are basically the poorer you are, the more it'll hit you, like proportionally.
How climate anxious do you feel Wales is as a nation? Obviously, not asking for you to speak for everybody, but like, how do you even feel like as individuals, like as a father? Does that impact you more? I've heard some people say that since they become parents, the thought of their child having to exist on this planet for longer than they will makes them a little bit more climate anxious. Or are you a bit like, fuck them kids?
Thank you
It's either or.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Sometimes life is binary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I try not to think about it too much from an emotional point of view
Sure.
about the kids, because I think the life that they have will be different to the life that I've grown up with, due to various things. But there's as part of my kids' school, they have little councils, sports council, school council. There's an eco council there, so they have elections each class year and stuff, and they have people who are kind of in charge of kind of that kind of stuff. And I remember us talking about the environment when I grew up in school, but it feels like we talk about the younger generations being so much more tapped into this, and I think. It is, not just my kids' age, but like, older kids. They all have these existential questions, I think. Yeah, I don't know whether it'll just need to be another generation of political heavyweights who, as the Senate and Westminster gets, younger and younger. That's when it will start to go. Oh, okay. Now everyone's had these kind of thoughts in their head for 20, 30 years. Now is going to be the time for us to actually make a fucking decision on this stuff. But I do worry about it, and I think from my kids' point of view, it is scary.
I do feel like I was of the opinion, probably for the first 20 years of my life, a bit like, yeah, I know it's bad, but somebody else is looking after that, right? Surely somebody else is doing that.
A grown up.
Yeah, grown-ups doing it. And I think now I feel like, are there any grown-ups doing it? Please, hi, hello, guys, please, I'm burning. And I do feel so positive that there are amazing people out there doing incredible work. And I've been really fortunate to work on a show where I met a few people who were talking about the amazing developments in climate kind of technology and so on, which does give me hope. They're trying to complete an almost thankless task, and public opinion isn't always on their side as well. And I just wonder if climate anxiety needs to be worse for these people to get their jobs done.
Well, this week I think people have gone, well, that was too much, wasn't it?
This is bad for me now.
Yeah. Well, that's human nature. We're selfish beings.
It's like when
right?
COVID went to Italy.
Sure.
Went, oh God.
Yeah, when it was in Asia, everyone was a bit like, oh, it's bad over there, isn't it?
They had SARS, didn't they?
Yeah.
But then, I've got some friends who are skiing, and it affected them, in February. So then it goes, it gets a little bit closer to home, and then you go, oh, right, now.
Yeah, I care.
We're selfish beings, and I think that as soon as it starts to, if I'm sure we all had very similar conversations last week of like, this will be regular now.
Yeah.
These won't be outliers, this heat.
Well, no, I mean, in 10 years, this heat probably will be an outlier because it'll be low.
Sure.
If you cut all greenhouse gas emissions now, the heat increases are going to keep going. We've literally baked in a lot of these kind of rises. So I really, really worry about it because, like, how can you not? Yeah, and it is something I kind of think about. You also have to carry on. And you have to try and make a difference. You have to adjust to the kind of new reality. I was, just as you were talking, looking at, because I remember watching when Farage launched the Reform Manifesto for Wales. And he was asked about climate change. In fact, the always excellent Andy Davis said, you've said you're going to scrap net zero. How do you square that with the fact that climate change is going to cause significant harm to UK GDP? And Farage said, if you actually look at this, in the 1970s, global temperatures were cooling. There were concerns about a future ice age. Since the middle to late 1980s, global temperatures are rising. You're right, it's rising. It's rising roughly 1/4 degree every decade. That's pretty accurate scientific measure of what's been happening over the last 40 years. But this is not unusual. When the Vikings went to Greenland, it was green. That's why it was called Greenland. But, we've had cold periods. There was times when elephants went across the Thames. The climate is always changing. The debate is, it's not a fucking debate. The debate is it man-made CO2 that is changing the environment? Yes. That was me. And then he adds, the other phenomenon, by the way, since the 1980s is global greening. Because there's more carbon dioxide, there's more green stuff on the planet, Kermit. So it isn't necessarily all catastrophic. It depends on what part of the world you live in. All I would say on the science is, I don't know.
Sorry. At Vikings, you absolutely lost me. If you've got to bring in the Vikings, and what's the term of like, if you've got to refer to the Nazis, you've lost the argument.
Right, sure.
Yeah. If you've got to bring up Vikings and elephant crossings, I dare say he's lost it.
It's like he's trying to play Just a Minute. It's like he's trying to sort of
Great reference.
just waffle his way.
The Vikings were crossing the Thames, or the elephants were crossing the Thames.
Oh, well done, Nigel. There's 2 points to Nigel there.
Buzz, deviation from reality. The most insightful thing there, which I think you can take, is his last sentence, which he says, all I would say on the science is, I don't know. Now,
Then say that, Nigel. Lead with that. I do think more men should get used to saying, I don't know, full stop. That is a full sentence. That is okay, babe.
but that's saying don't know when you don't know. He does know because the evidence is overwhelming and categorical. What is most frustrating about that kind of, all I would say on the science is, I don't know. Let's be really objective and say, right, if you are a legitimate political leader who wants to lead a country because you want to make it better, and you don't know about the science because you are not an expert in the science.
Listen to fucking experts then. Sorry, Will.
yeah, no,
sorry.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
And the experts are saying to you, it is overwhelmingly clear at this point that the continued burning of fossil fuels is going to lead to a complete climate breakdown on the only planet that we have. If a scientist is saying that to you, and you are still saying, I don't know, you are utterly complicit in destroying the world in which we all live. On the basis that if you manage to get enough of that sweet, sweet green stuff, I tell you where is green stuff growing, it's in his bloody wallet. The only way he is going to get through it is because he'll be rich. And it's okay if you're rich. Like, the people who just rather be Lord of the Ashes, how are people not more angry that people are destroying the only place in which we can live?
Yeah. I mean, taking party politics completely out of this, does it perhaps give us hope that, the Greens have done better than they ever have in the Senedd? And again, like I say, I'm taking party politics out of that. But does it indicate that more people are concerned about the environment than they ever have been?
I think you look at the polling, right, and you look at the sort of those age demographics and stuff in terms of like what people care about, the subjects that people care about, and I'm guessing that the environment and climate change is right up there for those demographics.
It's interesting you say that. So Friends of the Earth Cymru did some really interesting polling alongside YouGov before the election, and every single age demographic, more people are worried about it than not worried about it. Every single age, even to over 65s, 50%, about 51% worried, 45% not worried.
Well, that's interesting across all demographics, because I had assumed it would have been in this like 16 to 30 sort of big swell. But the fact that even the kind of the generation that you might assume, oh, well, I'm not going to live for this. I mean, these people have children and grandchildren.
So the graph you're looking at across Wales, 60% worried, under 40% not worried, and then the rest are kind of made up by don't knows. The public see it, the public understand it.
Which goes back to our original point of what the fuck is Christina on about then? Why is she wasting
Christiana?
Sorry, Christiana.
Yeah.
Apology. Who is she doing this for? The fucking 37%.
Yeah,
Guys,
exactly.
Right, okay.
Did you burn last week?
Yeah, I did.
Did you burn last week?
I don't go in the sun.
No. Well, do you know who else is feeling the burn? The Labour Party. Should we talk a little bit about Andy Burnham?
Mr. Burnham.
That was A tier.
That was good.
Segues.
So as of record day, which is Monday this week, Burnham has just set out his sort of 10-year vision plan in terms of like, currently there's nobody challenging him. Darren Jones, your friend and my lookalike, has decided he's not going to go for it.
Streeting. As we were recording, actually, I was giving it, why is he going against him? And he was like, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm still into my rock.
Yeah, and I can only apologise to Streeting for clearly he heard me say, why the hell is he doing it? And he went, Mel's out.
Mel's out. I've lost it. I've not got the numbers because I've not got Mel. So currently it looks like it's going to be a Burnham race, and he set out this vision, including lots of devolution for England, which isn't really a surprise. That was his big sort of like his selling point, right? I'm going to take the power back. But also over the weekend he ruled out not changing the Barner formula.
So sources told the BBC, sources close to Burnham told the BBC that he would not be looking to reform the Barnett formula.
How do you feel about that? As somebody who has laid out all the flaws of the Mr. Barnett formula many times. Do you not remember that?
Mr. Barnett.
Do you not remember when we called him Barnett? No, just me? Okay, never mind. Please back me up in the comments. We had a little...
They always back you up in the comments.
They do, to be fair. I love you. We had a little ha-ha hee-hee about Mr. Barnett.
Mr. Barnett.
But it's fine, guys, don't worry. How do you feel as somebody who's pointed out the flaws of the Barnett formula many times?
So the thing for me with the Barnett formula is that when it came out that Burnham was saying, "Oh, we're not going to reform that," the amount of Plaid people who messaged saying, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? We're really angry about it." And I totally get it. Like, the Barnett formula is no longer fit for purpose. It was never actually fit for purpose. And we do need to reform how Wales is funded. The reason I didn't instantly go down the kind of, this is really bad, is because, firstly, the guy isn't Prime Minister yet. Reforming the Barnett formula would take quite a bit of time. And you could do a lot of good things without reforming the Barnett formula. And also, if you reform the Barnett formula, you've got to get into it with the Scots a bit. Unless you're just going to increase it so it's just as good for Wales as it is for Scotland. And
where does that money come from?
Yeah, I don't think that's something they're going to do. So, but if he was to say, we're not going to reform the Barnett formula, but we're going to devolve rail and we are going to make it so that all R&D funding Wales gets a per head population share of that funding, that would actually be a huge, huge thing, which you could do without reforming the Barnett formula. So I didn't want to just start laying into someone before they'd even got in as Prime Minister and been able to lay out their vision. I'm sceptical that he will live up to how excited Mark Drakeford was about him last week.
Sure.
Because Mark Drakeford was pretty giddy about it, the idea
of
Andy Burnham, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And I wonder, how much of that is the same feeling across the Labour Party. They feel like, finally, even if it's less on a kind of a policy area, but more of are we going to have somebody exciting who people actually like and we're going to not be attacked every second of the day? Are people actually going to appreciate us as a government?
I don't know. I still feel like there's factions within the sort of the main people who want to be leader. I think, I think someone was on the Sunday programmes yesterday saying we should all get behind Andy. And I think if you've got to say that when there's no other candidates, I think there's clearly sort of rumblings of stuff going on, right? But yeah, interesting to see sort of the vision that he's putting out. Weird that he's kind of like, I read something, I think it was in the Times, where he's sort of like almost okayed a bit of defence spending ahead of something X, Y, Z, and he's not Prime Minister yet. Keir Starmer's still Prime Minister, and he's sort of like sat in the Travelodge cuck chair watching Andy make all the decisions. What a weird time to be alive.
Travelodge cuck chair.
We all know what it looks like. Why is it so fucking grey? We know. Someone went to me the other day. They were like, why is there only ever one chair in a hotel room? It doesn't make sense. And I was like, I don't want to be the one to tell you.
Ask your mother. Ask your mother.
But Keir Starmer is in the Travelodge cuck chair.
He is in the Travelodge cuck chair.
He is sat there watching
politics.
Andy fuck the country.
He's watching Andy fuck the country. Oh, I used to fuck that country.
I should still be. The divorce isn't final yet.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, what a humiliating time for Keir.
Weird.
It is odd. He's had his step down. If I was Keir Starmer this morning, I'm not setting my alarm in the morning.
Mate, 2 years into getting that much of a majority, and you've got to stand down and cry at Downing Street. It's that
that's hard.
No, and I
back it.
I think as someone who is portrayed as an unemotional person, we talked about the personal element of it. I think it's mad that the things are moving so quickly. When you look at the last sort of 10 years, how many prime ministers we've got through there. I think it's I've seen the football manager analogy being thrown around. I do think it's fucking insane, and it's no way to run a country, because how can you get things done? How can you do these long-term, these crucial things within health and within growth and within all these big things that we need to talk about? How can you do that when you've got like a Chelsea-style management thing where like, oh, let's get the best guy from Italy to do it. Oh no, he's not good. Yeah. It's mad.
I also struggle a little bit, and I'm happy to be told that I'm wrong. That like, with the personal element of like, they're still people. Yes, they are still people, but you are the most powerful person in this country, supposedly. You have said no one thrust this upon you. You said you wanted to lead the country. Therefore, fucking lead it.
You know what you signed up for.
Yeah, and I understand at the end of the day, they are still human beings who are going to have emotions and so on, and I think that's a really good thing to see. When there are people who feel the direct effects of your fuck-ups, I feel less empathy towards you feeling upset that you didn't quite get the job done, or that you didn't get to do it for as long as you wanted to.
Yeah.
I remember when Theresa May choked up on the steps of Downing Street, I was actually angry at her tears because I thought, yeah, she had a really hard time. There was so much venom from within her own party towards her. She was treated horrendously, don't get me wrong. But when we think of all the things that she also did wrong, her time at the Home Office, like the Windrush scandal where she just threw another politician on the fire for what should have been her. She should have gone months before. I don't give a shit about your tears, babe. I don't. So it is important to remember these are people. But these are people who decided to lead a country and got it wrong.
Yeah, the consequences of your actions are now coming home to roost. Right? I'm mixing many, many metaphors.
That said, I am the person that whenever we have like a guest on the podcast and they're just like lovely to us before the mics go on, they say something, I'm like, I agree. Yeah. I think that is a great point because they've given me a smile and a nice treat.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And like you see them as people, you know?
Yeah, but I think that's also quite a nice way to be a human being.
Yeah, I suppose so.
To be half decent to people.
Not all guests, mind. I think there were some guests who came on and they really confirmed what I already thought.
Oh, really?
I think for me, for audio listeners, there are side
serious side eye going on here.
Charming prick.
When you're scrutinising politicians, it's never personal towards them as people. You are scrutinising their actions and what they've done and the impact that their behaviour and decision making has and failings have on regular people, on the people who elected them. And I very deliberately distance myself from politicians. Like I know a lot of, inevitably I work from the Senate a couple of days a week, but though you always have to keep that kind of professional distance because ultimately it is really hard to publicly criticise somebody who you might respect, but it's the job.
I think within comedy, within topical shows, especially, like if I've ever headed up a writer's room, I'll always kind of say we're not doing jokes about personal appearance. We're not doing these kind of things. Yeah. We're doing things on actions as opposed to sort of like traits. And that's certainly things that I grew up watching shows, and there would be a billion Eric Pickles' fat jokes broadcast. And it's just, let's do the things. And I think that was something that I think a lot of people did with Trump. Like, oh, look, he's orange, he's got silly hair, he's got tiny hands. Great.
You know?
Sure. Now, next week, we are going to have a guest on the podcast, aren't we? We are going to get a doctor.
A doctor.
A consultant, no less.
We all have ailments, and this is the easiest way for us to get a GP's appointment.
Only way we could get to the top of the list.
Lovely.
I have a rash, and he's going to look at it.
On YouTube. Let's put it behind a paywall so people who really want to see it can see it.
Yeah. We'll get like my like a fracture on the screen. That'd be great.
That'd be great. That. Really excited to have him on. I've worked with him before. He's very funny, and he's really got a lot of insight about what it's like to work at the front line of the NHS in Wales. And as something that's used as like a political football, I think it's actually nice to hear from somebody who's actually in it. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, also an author as well.
He is an author.
He's books.
Yeah, I don't know any other authors. Do you know any other authors?
You and you.
Oh, there we go.
I'm really excited for next week because we just get to talk a bit about ideas and policy rather than person said this. Very excited for that.
How fun.
Cool. My name is Will Hayward.
My name is Mel Owen.
My name's Robin Morgan. We'll see you next week.
Welcome out.
Bye. Yeah.